welcome back to the deep dive.
Today, we are diving into those cyber threats.
Those headlines that make you think twice.
Right.
Ransomware hitting hospitals.
Yeah.
Whispers about Space Force secrets for sale online.
You shared your reading list, and we're here to cut through all that noise and find those really useful insights.
Absolutely.
And joining me to make sense of it all is expert speaker.
Ready to dive in.
Absolutely. And you know what?
This isn't just about data breaches anymore.
This is real-world stuff that can hit surprisingly close to home.
Yeah. And speaking of close to home, one story that really jumped out was this AskVet breach.
Pet medical records.
Oh, yeah.
Who knew that was like a prime cybercrime thing?
Yeah, it's unsettling, isn't it?
It is.
But it just shows you how almost any data can be used for bad stuff.
Right.
I mean, think about it, with your pet's medical history. Scammers could make some really, really convincing phishing emails.
Or even target you with personalized scams, playing on your emotions.
Wow.
And your trust.
That is so much worse than I thought about initially.
I just thought, oh, data theft, whatever.
But this is a big deal.
This is serious.
Yeah. And unfortunately, it's a trend we see everywhere these days.
Yeah.
Especially in healthcare, where there's a ton of sensitive data.
Right.
One of the stories you sent mentioned Kansas City Hospice.
Yes.
Getting hit with that black suit ransomware.
That one got to me.
Yeah.
A nonprofit hospice.
They provide end-of-life care.
I mean, who does that?
Well, it shows how cyber criminals are going after really important stuff now.
Okay.
Critical infrastructure.
Black suit or royal ransomware, as it's also called.
They have a history of going after hospitals, schools.
Essential services.
Right.
Things that people...
It's not even about the data.
It's about disruption.
Exactly.
They want these huge ransoms, sometimes millions of dollars.
Wow.
Putting all this pressure on these organizations.
Imagine a city's power grid going down from a ransomware attack.
Oh my God. That's the reality we're looking at.
That's terrifying.
And the damage is way beyond just money.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
It makes you realize how vulnerable we are.
In this digital world.
Yeah, and it's not just hospitals and power grids.
We're seeing cyber attacks going into new areas, too.
Like what?
Like that U.S. Space Force data leak.
Oh, yeah?
Remember that one?
Sounds like a movie.
A hacker with top-secret military tech.
That can't be real, can it?
Well, the details are still being figured out.
But just the possibility changes everything.
We're talking maybe super advanced tech being exposed.
Right.
AI-powered defenses, quantum communication.
It's not just about stolen data anymore.
It's about national security.
So cybersecurity is national security now.
Pretty much.
And while this Space Force thing might seem crazy, like something you'd see in a movie,
it just shows how high the stakes are getting.
in the cyber world,
yeah,
it's mind-blowing how these cyber threats are
escalating from hospitals to potentially national security.
It is.
It really is like a movie.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And speaking of untouchable targets.
You had an article about Casio.
Oh, yeah.
The watch company.
Casio having to stop their repair services because of a cyber attack.
Yeah.
What could they possibly want with Casio?
It's not like they're, developing weapons or something.
They'll be not weapons. But they do have valuable data.
That's true.
And as we've said, data is the new currency.
In the cybercrime world, they got hit with ransomware.
200 gigabytes of data gone.
Oh, my God.
Employee info.
Legal documents.
It just goes to show.
No company is safe.
Wow.
Big or small.
That is a sobering thought.
Okay, so we've talked about all this scary stuff.
Ransomware.
Cyber breaches.
Space Force tech in the wrong hands.
Yeah.
But you also flagged all these vulnerabilities in our software, Fortinet, Atlassian.
Ubiquitous.
Right.
Google, Chrome.
And those are just the ones that I recognize.
Yeah, and that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Really?
Yeah, vulnerabilities are everywhere.
All the time?
Yeah.
Even in the most common software?
It's imagine you've got this
solid wall, right?
But there's a loose brick somewhere.
Hackers are always looking for that loose brick.
I see.
To break in.
Okay, but for those of us who aren't, tech savvy.
Right.
Can you explain,
Sure.
What is a vulnerability really?
Okay, so...
Think of it like this. You've got a house, right? A nice house.
Yeah.
But you left a window unlocked.
Oh.
A vulnerability is that unlocked window in your software.
So I shouldn't ignore all those update notifications on my phone.
There you go.
You got it.
Okay.
Those updates usually have patches.
For those vulnerabilities.
So they're boarding up the window.
Exactly. They're boarding up that window.
Okay.
Might seem annoying.
But it's better than getting robbed.
Right. Good analogy.
Out of all those vulnerabilities you mentioned,
Yeah.
anything stand out is especially bad.
That Fortinet one's a bit worrying.
Why is that?
They haven't said exactly what it is,
Uh-huh.
but it's potentially under active exploitation.
So hackers are already using it.
Yeah, they're working on a fix.
But they're saying everyone needs to update now.
Okay, so that's something people can do, right?
Exactly.
Check for updates.
Yeah, just check for updates.
It's one of the best things you can do
Okay.
to protect yourself.
Think of it like basic hygiene.
Like washing your hands.
Right.
Simple, but makes a huge difference.
Good advice.
Oh.
Now let's move on to this week's special report.
One term that keeps coming up is information stealers.
Right.
That sounds ominous.
It does.
But what does that even mean?
Well, it's as bad as it sounds.
It's a type of malware that's designed to be sneaky.
Uh-huh.
It runs in the background.
On your device.
Yeah.
Secretly collecting your info.
Like what?
Logins. Credit card numbers.
Personal data.
Okay, so anything valuable.
Exactly.
Anything they can use.
So it's like digital pickpocketing.
But they're after way more than our wallets.
Right.
How do they even get on our devices in the first place?
Are we talking like
Good question.
shady websites?
Suspicious links?
Those are definitely possibilities.
But there's this thing called malware as a service now.
Malware as a service.
There you go.
Okay, that definitely sounds like something.
I need to explain simply.
Okay.
Imagine a subscription box.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of like makeup or snacks,
Yeah.
it's full of malware tools.
With cyber criminals.
Oh, wow.
So they pay a fee.
And boom.
They've got these tools to steal info.
Even if they don't know that much about tech.
Wow. So it's like a black market.
For digital weapons.
Kind of.
That is both fascinating and terrifying.
Right.
How do we protect ourselves then?
That's the big question.
The good news is the basics still work.
Okay.
Strong passwords.
Yeah.
Unique passwords
Uh-huh.
for every single account.
Okay.
No more using your pet's name for everything.
Gotcha.
And turn on two-factor authentication.
Two-factor authentication.
Yeah.
That's where they text you a code, right?
Right.
It's an extra layer of security.
Okay.
Makes it way harder for hackers.
Okay.
Even if they get your password.
Good to know. And of course, being careful what you download
Oh, yeah. That's huge.
and what links we click,
Absolutely.
especially from people we don't know.
Always be careful.
Right. It's all about being aware and vigilant
Exactly.
in our digital lives.
Yeah.
You got it.
Okay.
Last but not least.
You mentioned this Deloitte report about CISOs,
Right.
Chief Information Security Officers, gaining influence in companies.
Yeah, they're becoming more important.
Why is that a big deal?
Well, for a long time,
Yeah.
cybersecurity was like the IT department's problem.
Right.
Just a tech thing.
Uh-huh.
But this report,
It shows that companies are realizing
yeah,
cybersecurity is everyone's problem.
it's a business problem.
Exactly.
Because it can cost them money.
Lots of money.
And the threats are getting worse.
All the time.
It's not even about protecting data anymore.
Right.
It's about protecting the whole company.
Exactly. And having a CISO in charge means they can actually do something about it.
Right, because they have the power.
They've got the power to make changes, build a security culture.
So it's not just about firewalls.
Nope.
It's about the whole mindset.
The whole company needs to care.
That's a good point.
Well, expert speaker, thanks for guiding us through all this.
Happy to help.
I always learn so much from these deep dives.
And for everyone listening, we covered a lot.
Ransomware on hospitals.
Space Force leaks and everything in between.
It's a lot.
The digital world is getting more and more complex.
Yeah, and more dangerous.
But knowledge is power.
Absolutely.
So as you're online, think about what surprised you today.
And what you're going to do to protect yourself.
Good advice.
Because this landscape of cyber threats,
It's always changing. Stay safe out there.